Okay, we are on record. Live stream preparing. Okay, we are on record. Live stream. We are live.
Right on. Hi, everybody.
Take it away.
Yay. So, thank you for coming to our round table where we will discuss all things Uranus. Specifically, how Uranus is not in Gemini. We're just going to throw that out there. But where it is even more interesting. And we want to just dive deep into that because it's really, really cool. So, I am Maria Schumacher, also known as Vian of Venus 13. I do astrology and other stuff. Venus 13.com is where you find me. Julie Sherwood.
Hello, friends. I'm driving, so if I pause for a minute, I'm watching the live chat. So if you're on live chat, we'll try to keep up with you. Welcome to all who have joined us. I'm Julie Sherwood of Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching, where the wellness part includes constellational 13 sign astrology, root cause therapy work, wellness coaching, Reiki. I kind of hit you mind, body, spirit. I love the astrology because it shows us a blueprint of what our cosmic energy potentials are. And then some of the other tools I have can help you realize that. So thank you, thank you. And I will tag off to Michael, Uma Stellar.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for putting this together, Maria. And yeah, I am at oneskyastro.com. I'm doing like true sidereal as constellational astrology in with an evolutionary framework in the tradition of Jeffrey Wolf Green. Um, that's all the news that's fit to print. The rest, I leave, I'll leave it to I'll leave it to someone else to introduce themselves. Thank
Okay, I'm River of Stars Astrology website currently under construction. So find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Substack at River of Stars Astrology. Also, stoked to be here. Take it away, Verone.
Okay. I'm Verone Bright, better known as Verone Bright, and I am number one on Earth to help souls liberate from all of the thousands of years of conditioning, oppressions, programs, false beliefs, and pain that they have been chugging around. So I sit at the intersection of many vast fields of study: Chinese medicine, 13 sign astrology, pattern work. I'm very trauma informed. And if you are ready to have a fucking breakthrough, I'm your girl. So you can find me at Starship Moonbeam on Instagram, Verone Bright on Facebook. My website is Verone Oracle Acupuncture, and my podcast is Star Body Empowerment with Verone Bright. I post every week. So if you want a taste of what I'm doing, you can check that out for free. Links will be posted, I'm sure, somewhere. All right, cool.
Oh, yeah. We will shamelessly self-promote in different places.
Hey, we're running businesses. We're supposed to promote them.
That's right. That's right. Where are people going to find us if we don't put our, stuff out there, right? So
you. You said, Vern, you're like, I am number one on Earth to, and all I heard was like, I am number one on Earth, and I just saw a picture of you like in the
Did I
ring,
say
like
that?
holding. Well, you were like, I am like comma number one comma on Earth to like assist with healing, but when it came out, all I heard was like, I'm Vern Bright, and I am number one on Earth. And it's just the pause, the second pause before you continued. I was like, yeah, sing it.
I love
Hey,
it.
if
I
you
vote for
heard,
it.
if you heard I'm Verone Bright, comma, number one on Earth, that is the energy that I'm calling in for
That's
2020
it.
I
and
love
every
it.
That's
year
it.
beyond.
That's
So
it. Own it.
yes,
Own it.
yes,
Sit in it. I
yes.
love it. I love it. I'm here for
We'll
it.
vote for you.
Thank you.
So, okay, gang. Who wants to go first? Or do we just want to like say words until I'll just say words until somebody
No.
wants to jump in here.
I feel like you have more to get off your chest, Maria. I feel like you have I feel like you have an axe to grind, and that's okay. That's okay.
I have a mission. All right. So I am going to share a chart. Let's see which chart I'm sharing. Yes. This is a chart for the upcoming new moons just in a few days, right? So,
Can we make it bigger?
yeah.
Even for me to see it.
How's that?
Yeah.
Better.
Is that
Yeah,
too
it's better.
big?
No,
There,
just so
that's
people,
good.
that's good. So people can really see it.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
And it's
All right.
showing well on YouTube too. So
Now, this is confusing because there's a lot of stuff going on in this part of the chart. But here is where Uranus is. This turquoise tick mark is where the planet Uranus actually is. So on that new moon day, we have Ceres, the sun and moon, Al Ghul, our girl Al Ghul, Mercury, and Uranus right there. That's in a couple of days. You'll notice how this is not Gemini, right?
it's not. How do you know?
It's really not, because this is the sign for Taurus. Now, we're not going to be able to see it because the sun is there, so we can't really see much other than the sun when the sun is in the sky. But in fact, the constellation behind all of this is Taurus. It has been Taurus for like 2 years. Uranus has been in the constellation of Taurus, hanging out in early Taurus between Al Ghul and the Pleiades for yonks. This is not news. This is definitely not news. And so I know that news has been sort of making a big deal of the idea that Uranus has shifted into Gemini. In the real sky, it has not. In the real sky, it remains in Taurus. Who would like to tell us what that means?
Well, I'll give you one perspective that I've had.
Right.
Uranus is he plays a lot with our nervous systems. And how I'm looking at that, how it's come across in my world, is that a lot of people are having a hard time grounding Taurus, their nervous systems. They're feeling very unsettled, very fractionated, and this passage of Uranus through Taurus has really exacerbated that. So it's a question of how do we connect our nervous system back to the five senses? Also Taurian energy, right? Stability, Taurian energy. So that's one of the ways it's been manifesting, across my plate. And then the other piece of it is Uranus, I see as, Mercury is your computer on your desk, which we're not going to talk about because I'm the one broadcasting and recording. Shush. But Uranus is like the big technology, AI, cyber world, all of that. And Taurus being the governor of our personal values, what do we value in all of this as this is all unfolding before our very eyes? What do I value in the AI world? What do I personally connect with that I think is still okay versus where am I abdicating my values, right? So that's two different ways that I see that energy manifesting. So
I want to piggyback on a little bit about what Julie just said too about the nervous system piece, is that as much as I can agree on one hand about grounding the nervous system, also we are expanding our capacity to hold more of ourselves. And these sensations that rise up from us is the energy that we've had caged and captive for a long time. And when they come up, I think, the first thing people say is like, oh, this is my fear, this is my anxiety, I need to get rid of it, or I need to ground it, or I got to do something with it, instead of hold it and presence it. Like, this is our life force, like coming back into our bodies, like places where we've like held in our screams and like been compliant and complacent and abandoned ourselves. So before you just try to off gas it, like I think we need to sit with the unhinged parts of ourselves, because this is what's going to allow us to bust through. And for me, Uranus is like that fuck you energy that allows us to remember a part of us that is like immortal and greater, that is going to not accept what we've been given so that we can create something that we've always wanted. So like when you've got this like surge of energy come up, whether you call it rage or anxiety or fear or just like, feeling like you're kind of going insane, before trying to like make it into something, allow yourself to be present with it, like meet yourself and hold it so that you can let that life force like move through you, because like most of our life forces have been quite muted. So yeah, maybe I'll just end it there for now.
And in Taurus, that creates that opportunity for stability to build when you do that. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and what are we building? Like, what are we stable on? Like the foundation underneath of us has to shake up, because maybe what we've been building on is like not what we want. It's like if you've been, and that's personalities, that's identities, that's belief systems, that's system structures, governments, all of it. So.
Yep.
Another thing I think about Taurus and Gemini, the relationship, like one of the places you see the difference is that Gemini is quite intellectual and mental. So when Uranus moves into a set of stars, that area tends to get electrified, and kind of with that kind of higher truth fire, like what really wants to shine through is something that is usually shaking up, like you were saying, the foundations. But the thing I see about Taurus is like this is electrifying the body, it's electrifying the real world, it's electrifying the earth dimension, and the tangible, the actual things in our lives, where I don't know. I would expect Uranus and Gemini to really correlate with a lot of like inventiveness and creativity, and like, maybe breakthrough in a different dimension. But Uranus in Taurus, I think, has been changing structures and systems in the real world, and electrifying the body. That's what's most
100%. Yep.
Yeah, that feeling that we're literally being rewired.
Yes.
Right? Where the nervous system does feel a little bit frazzled, but when you sit with it, you realize, okay, this isn't bad. It's just weird. But I'm also able to process things that I couldn't process before. I'm able to see value in things that I didn't see value in before. I'm able to understand how pieces fit together in a tangible way. You know what I mean? Like your connection to your body is literally changing. Your connection to the earth is literally changing, and some of the frequencies within that matrix.
And look at that trine to Pluto. This goes back to what Varone was saying about, all these foundations crumbling. Pluto and Capricorn. Shall we talk about the crumbling foundations that will set the stage for generations to come? Yeah.
I don't know if we need to, but we could.
I think we get the point, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Uranus is going to be in Taurus for a few years. Pluto is going to be in Capricorn for a few years. That trine-ish is going to be moving together. And that whole, double sextile trine with Neptune, who is also going to remain in Pisces for a few years. That nice little set is just sort of going to go like that.
It's calling us to allow these structures to dissolve. We have to.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I just want to
Oh,
remind
God.
people that like it is extremely grueling at times. Like you will be on your knees, like begging God to give you a freaking break. And there'll be times that it
Yeah.
feels amazing. And you'll be like, wow, a blooming flower and a buzzing bee. So whatever you're going through, kind of just say yes to all of it because no one can escape, right? We all have to face it all. And that's just, I mean, that's the amazingness of life. You say yes to all of it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other
Yeah.
themes as a collective with Taurus and Uranus moving through Taurus, talking about values. It's also like values as in money, currency,
Yep.
and the digitization, the changing of currency, the shakeups, like as much of the world is undergoing some of that shakeup, destabilization around resources, money, also like agriculture, the sign of the bull, like
Yes.
long agriculture connections. So that too is facing shakeups.
Mm-hmm.
So Uranus can also be crisis that brings revolutionary changes.
Mm-hmm.
It is an awakener, but it can do that through crisis.
Huh? And he's squaring what, Maria?
Yeah, so this Uranus conjunct the Pleiades, right? Alcyone, the AOC, that means the Pleiades. That's something. I'll tap River for this in a second because he's a genius with this stuff. But it's that whole thing is square the nodes of the moon right now, right? And so the collective kind of evolutionary arc, karmic path, if you will, that balance point between, all right, where we've been and where we're going and what we're going to take and what we don't want to take, all of that re-evaluation because of revolutionary upheaval, right?
Mm-hmm.
How as an individual do I want to maintain or reclaim my self-expression? Uranus square something in Leo, right? Um, as I move forward and benefit that collective future, Uranus square something in Aquarius. So, um, River, would you continue from there with like the big stars that are involved in this too, with just makes it a little more than just even Uranus and the nodes?
Sure. Well, you see, the nodes are close to two really major stars. They're called royal stars. There are four royal stars in the sky, and um, Maria's circling Regulus in Leo, the heart of the lion, and Fomalhaut, which is in Pisces Austrinus, the southern fish, which is right below Aquarius. It's what the urn of Aquarius, the water is the fish is drinking that water, that source water of Aquarius. And that's the Fomalhaut is the watcher of the south. Regulus is the watcher of the north. They're like these archetypal energies, guardians of these archetypal directions, lighthouse stars. And whenever anything transits these stars, I think it's something to pay attention to. Like the Grand Cross in the sky with these four stars, the other being Aldebaran and Antares, which Aldebaran is in Taurus as well. So, and the sun is moving towards Aldebaran, as is Mercury, as is eventually Uranus in the next few years. So, this mighty cross in the sky and the nodes really like shape our collective experience, as they are responsible for our eclipses on Earth. So mighty change bringers themselves, the head and the tail of the dragon, mighty dragon. That so I just think it's quite powerful that the nodes are transiting these stars as they're being squared by Uranus. At another, Alcyone of the Pleiades is another of the great stars. So much lore surrounding the Pleiades that goes back as far as there's some. I've read that possibly even 100,000 years into the past, there are still stories of like the lost Pleiad, because you can only see 6 of the stars rather than the 7. So there's this lore about the missing sister, they're also called hens, but there's like this feminine quality to the sister, and that the rest weep, their tears fall, and so they're associated with like rain and grief, and also the moon very much so, and that kind of energy of psychic ability, even illusion is part of that moon thing. But I associate the Pleiades with that psychic visioning, the third eye, also just vision in general. When we see like fuzzy groups of stars like the Pleiades, they're kind of like glowy blue up in, but they kind of, there's a fuzziness to them. They're associated with classically with like blindness, but it's also sight. It's also like a different type of sight.
Like a third eye sight?
Like the blind seer, like the archetype of the blind seer.
Okay.
Who may be like physically blind, but has a different type of vision, enhanced vision.
River, is it true that the cave paintings at Lascaux, France, that depict the Pleiades? Do I have that? Do I have that correct? So this is important for a long time. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like those are very ancient. And what I was talking about are Aboriginal stories of Aboriginal peoples, too. So yes, they have just, humans have been tuned into these stars as far as we know that humans have existed. And
yeah, right, like since I think before the constellations, before they even knew about the ecliptic, before they put groups of stars together and called them constellations, there were the bright stars. And the Pleiades, that cluster, was one of the things that the earliest man looked up and was like, home, right? I can see that. I can trace its movements. I can see where that is, and I can mark things by that. And Fomalhaut, great stars like Fomalhaut and Regulus too, really, I think, predate astrology as we know it. So the fact that there are 3 important points in a modern astrological chart that are conjunct these 3 very, very ancient important points in a simple sky map is huge, and like nobody's talking about it. And so that's, you know what I mean? Like, this is so cool. And
oh, I do, yeah.
I want to tell everybody how cool it is.
I want to show you. Oh, Varun,
can we not? I got something to say on this exact thing right here. So, when we're working with stars that are this old, that are connected back to our human consciousness back 100,000 years, we're talking about our ancient star ancestors, and like the star material is inside us. I know that I've said this a billion times. I'll say it a million more times. We are made of the same fundamental elements that were birthed in the bellies of the stars, exploded out with the supernovas. We are literally made of stardust. And so when we have activations like this, we are activating that primitive, that's almost like ancient primal material inside of us. It's like literally waking up inside of us. When we're working with the nodes, we activate that dragon energy. We're like awakening our internal dragon, that part of us that is immortal. Like we are not just freaking here to eat fast food and watch Netflix. Like we have forgotten the point, right? Like humans have forgotten how powerful they are, that we are made of earth, we are made of stars, that we are the infinite, like awakening to itself. And this activation with the North and South Node, with Uranus, with Alcyone, with these ancient stars, with the guardians of the sky, like that's inside of us. Like it's not outside of us. It's not this thing that we're searching for. It's a remembrance inside of our own body, connecting to this wisdom that we've held and we've passed down generation after generation, lifetime after lifetime, thousands of years after thousands of years. And with the Pleiadian star cluster, especially, like the Kritika, the cutters, like they're psychic surgeons. They are coming in, cutting out all of the gunk that we don't need. So, like, you know, when stuff comes up for people, the first thing people want to do is be like, what's wrong? Something must be happening. That's awful. It's like, no, this is your opportunity to take out the trash, right? To get this crap out of you. And that's exactly, to me, what the Pleiades have helped me with, like psychic surgery. Like, no wonder I'm tired today. I had to go through my psychic surgery where it's like time to cut out all this crap that you don't need. I mean, even their symbol is like a sickle or a scythe, you know, Kritika in Vedic astrology. So this is really a very awesome time to get the gunk out of you so that you can, and it's karmic. Remember, you know, like the Pleiades are very connected into our karma. I mean, maybe they are us, right? Like maybe they're our ancestors, maybe they're us in the future, maybe it's a parallel universe. And so this is the time for us to get out all those limitations and like really remember, you know, why we came here. Like what's our mission? What's our purpose? What's our expression? Aquarius and Leo, where are we going in the future? How are we here to like bring it out and share it with the world? And yeah.
In an authentic way. That's the other thing about
Oh, absolutely.
Aquarius and Uranus is it's calling for us to stand in our own personal authenticity in the collective.
Absolutely.
And that nodal path is huge. Let me take a left turn for half a second because I want to ask this question on the recording. So in the YouTube chat, somebody asked, Lady Spellbreaker 1313 asked, who is Uranus in ancient Sumeria? And Michael, do you want to give your answer so we can have it for the recording?
Sure, I think that Uranus like if you mean mythologically, like in their pantheon of deities like Anu and Enlil and who's the other one? Enlil and Enki, thank you. But I don't think there's a direct correlate to Uranus because Uranus wasn't so visible with the naked eye. So it wasn't like one of the visible planets like that we see out to Saturn. But Uranus and Neptune, we may not have correlate mythologies for them from the ancient world.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
I wanted one just thing about royal stars, all of them, but I just wanted to add the theme of power as these just like this grand cross of like power centers. And I think it also reflects a lot around world powers and kings and leaders, and that's queens. I say kings and queens kind of, there are some left, but
interchangeably,
more as the energy, because these royal stars and Regulus has been known as the king star. So I think we have, as far as things that are happening, like world powers and leadership and that's like in the mix with royal stars often.
Awesome. I would love to show you a couple other things that are going on around Uranus right now. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just take a moment.
I love that, River. Thank you. While Uma's getting pulled up, I'm just going to piggyback off that. and again, we have tended to think of royalty as hierarchical, right? Through what we know of human history. But I think Uranus connecting these guys asks us now to think of royalty in terms of sovereignty, right?
Mm.
Individual, what makes royalty, well, I mean, you can say it's blood, but that's only if everybody agrees with you. Everybody is has the right to be their sovereign selves, and Uranus will demand that we address that question, I think, as we move through Taurus, the sign of the body. Like,
Mm.
what in the body makes one person better than another, if anything? And I'm yeah, so sovereignty, kingship, a whole nother way of looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love
Mm-hmm.
that.
I do too. I do too. That's really big. I agree that anywhere Uranus goes, he points out sovereignty. He points out
Mm-hmm.
autonomy, and he points out people's power. One of the things I wanted to show, well, first of all, just to get a 3D view, here's
Nice.
Alcyone and the Pleiades. That's what we're talking about. Here's Aldebaran. Here's Uranus, the sun and moon. This is the May 16th, 2026 alignment. So the next new moon will be here. And Mercury. And here's Ceres. And what I wanted to show you is 2 points. One of them is Sedna. Sedna has an 11,400 year orbit. So the last time Sedna was this close, approaching like aphelion, approaching the closest, sorry, perihelion, approaching closest point to the sun, was like the almost the Younger Dryas event, the end of the Wisconsin Ice Age. Like this, to go just like the Pleiades, is very archaic, is very timeless and archaic in our consciousness.
Wow.
Except that Sedna, unlike the Pleiades, has been hidden for that time. She goes out like into the Oort cloud, I think into past heliopause, into like deep space, and comes back in that 11,000 years. And she's close now. She's about half the distance, and again, or no, about 2.5 times the distance of Neptune from the sun. She's that far from the sun, 2.5 times Neptune. So she's really close right now. She's almost at their closest point to sun. And she's coming back for this 11,000 year cycle, bringing this like timeless stuff that lines up. And she and Uranus conjoin May 20. I'm going to get this wrong. It's either the 23rd or the 24th, but it's like right in this new moon, right in this lunar cycle, this new moon that happens May 16th. That cycle, Uranus and Sedna will actually conjoin. And Sedna's got a really weird orbit, but she's not down in like Eridanus or Cadus. She's here in Taurus. So there's like powerful resonance with the ancients, and with, we don't have the map on Sedna. We don't know, like we don't have good case studies. We don't have precise information. What's that reflect? But we know it's very old, very mysterious, and like just deeply archaic. And the other thing that's going on in Taurus that brings Uranus a lot of power here right now is his north node. So just to like kind of cover that, what that is the where Uranus crosses the ecliptic into kind of magnetic north. Uranus has an orbit that's pretty close to the ecliptic, but there is technically like a little north-south wobble. And where the north node is symbolize always the more like forward leaping, future oriented, like kind of breakthrough oriented qualities of an already right future oriented, breakthrough rich energy. This guy is like, that's his specialty, that's his special dance move, and he's approaching like the most powerful or most potentized point here from a certain point of view. He's approaching this north node, which will give him the most kind of bleeding edge approach to kind of future forward thinking and acting. So really dynamic energies, a lot of stuff coming up. Uranus and Uranus North Node will meet up 2029, in May of 2029. So we have some time yet to see, like, what is this guy? What is he even up to? What's he doing in Taurus, right? Because we have ideas, we have some ideas, but a better timeline would be to give ourselves the rest of this decade to kind of see what's going to shake out, how it's going to
I have
shake.
two questions for you, just mainly to put it out for the group. One, some of us are familiar with nodes of the moon, so if you want to
Yeah.
just extrapolate from that about nodes for the other planets, and then how might you see that blending or that conversation between Sedna's energy and Uranus's energy as they conjoin? Do you have some thoughts? I know you said Sedna's not as well known yet, but I mean some thoughts
Mm-hmm.
about that.
Yeah, well, I do, and I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on Sedna. I don't know. I'm like, it's just disturbingly rational sometimes. So my first thought where I go to with Sedna is like, oh, does the astronomy reflect the astrology? And if it does, what we have with Sedna is like a very, very, very deep, like very, very ancient. Like this thing is only coming around for like I mean, really, to come into the contact or like realm of the inner planet, and even just to come close enough to Neptune that we can talk about it as like as a close object. We can see it with telescopes and stuff. Like 11,000 years. So that I think gives it a cycle. Like we think of, we think of the moon and its 29.5 day cycle. That's a month. That's a cycle for us. That's meaningful. That's like a thing. We think of like, I mean, obviously all the cycles of astrology have their various correlations and meanings. So this one, Sedna's, is an 11,400 year cycle. So that is automatically like that's one of the more different energies in the solar system. So we can say maybe it'll be deep. Maybe the mythology of Sedna reflects deep. She lives at the bottom of the Arctic Ocean. We could say maybe it'll be strange. Maybe it'll be like cold. Maybe it'll be like almost unrecognizable for its like maybe it could be really different to what we're used to, but also recognizable for its like timeless qualities. I mean, literally 11,400 years ago, like the Wisconsin Ice Age was ending. It's so hard to think about that span of time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's so interesting that the Sedna is coming up right now because with one of my clients, Sedna has been present in almost every one of our sessions together. Just she has come in visions, she's appearing, like she's just here. And so to see this in the chart right now, I'm like, well, of course, this is what's happening, And so with this, like you said, at the bottom of the Arctic Ocean, this very, very old, very far out, this dwarf planet that's so far beyond like the reaches of like what we even quote unquote know. I do think that there is this extremely old, primal, beyond word feminine energy that is awakening in the collective that can't be contained anymore, and as of like our understanding of reality in this moment, yeah, it may not make sense, but like it's not supposed to make sense, right? It's bringing in something so old and ancient and far beyond something that we can try to rationalize or think our way through, even thinking about like the bottom of the ocean or the deep seas or the waters, I just think that there's so much there for us. And so I feel excited about that, like far out energy coming like closer in. And like, there isn't, we can try to say things about Sedna, but she's like an experience, right? She's something that we have to just experience, and she's going to like move through us. I mean, I think it could be quite artistic, I think it can be quite experiential beyond words.
Whale
Well, and
songs.
Whale songs.
Oh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and think about, all of the, you were talking about just that ancient primal feminine energy coming through. Look at all of the feminine archetypes that are clustered right there right now. You've got Sedna, you've got Ceres, you've got Algol, you've got the Seven Sisters, you've got
For many, I've been tracking this for like many moon cycles. If you look back at all the like past lunar cycles, maybe the 4 past like lunar cycles, it's been just like Eris and Algol, and like it's been like all of these really powerful feminine energies coming forward more and more and more and more and more, and like
and not just
feminine
promote
beyond
them.
like your own gender,
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
feminine
yeah.
force, you know. It's a force that cannot be stopped, right? It can't be stopped.
So it makes me wonder, going back to what River was saying about the seven sisters and how the one sister wasn't visible. I
Yeah.
wonder if we'll start to see.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yes. Hey, things, when we're ready, we perceive it. You know, at one
There
point,
it is.
Saturn was the edge of our solar system. Were the other planets not there? Yeah, we just weren't ready to see it yet.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I'll be
And
waiting to see that seventh sister in the sky. That's
there it
cool.
is. Prediction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Prediction.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and it, oh, go ahead, River.
Oh, if you have a thought, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in that, and how I kind of navigate the discussion with those who are very oriented toward that other system. I don't want to set my friend Maria off. You know, and how that's a very formulaic, mathematical, divine masculine energy, and how we're returning to the cosmic constellational true sky approach, I see as a divine feminine energy. There's a lot of intuitiveness that's involved with that. And so it's that bringing this all back into balance. And boy, if what's going on in the sky doesn't support all of that, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, you know, so.
Yeah. It's definitely just a broader sight too, you know. It's
Yeah.
like you're able to like cast your vision in a wider scope, you know, and so I think that that's always really helpful.
Like River said, the blind man suddenly sees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, I think with this 11,400 year cycle, Michael, do you know approximately when that Sedna is the closest? If not, that's okay. But like a ballpark.
I need to look it up to
Well,
find out when she hits, and I will. So if you give
To
me
okay.
Earth? To Earth? Is that what you
Yes.
mean? Okay.
to
Anyway,
to sun, I think.
it's relatively
Heliocentric.
soon in this.
Okay.
It's very soon
Yeah.
in this spectrum of 11,400 years. So I think
Yes.
there's a lot of,
she's very close to her closest point to sun right now. Yeah.
and that's just so that's so interesting to me. And I think there's a lot of attention to our oceans for their and the creatures in the ocean. You know, we're just oceanic activity. I think is just like really important at this closest approach in terms of pollution in the ocean, but also and like the sounds that affect the ocean life and those kind of issues, but also others. I think the ocean and Sedna is such a story. It's like Persephone going into the underworld, but you know, it's a tragic kind of story in a way, because I know there's more than one version, but I know that her father, the popularized one, like she's like hanging off the boat. I think she gets thrown off the boat, and the father like cuts off her fingers, and she falls to the bottom of the sea, and those finger pieces become all the creatures of the ocean. But I mean, she has a transformational experience through this descent, but it is tragic. So I think, and combined with the Pleiades again, which I associate with their tears, crying for their lost sister.
Mm.
You know, there is tragedy, I think, involved in all of this, but it's also a story of transformation.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Well,
whether
isn't
we're
that-
talking, oops, sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say whether we're talking about like Sedna or Lilith or Medusa or you know, the story of the exile, the female that was exiled, you know, whether you're dropped to the bottom of the sea or you're cast out into the wilderness and then you become one. She became one with the ocean and all the creatures, just like
Yeah.
Lilith became one with the
Right.
wild. You know, it's
Right.
just like
Right.
we're going to start seeing the theme, right, of all of it connecting
Yeah.
together and returning. So,
Well, and
Yeah, I want to
also
answer River's question before we move on. River had a question about when Sedna got perihelion. It's 2076. 2076, which in an 11,000 year orbit is
that's
that's pretty
close.
close,
Yeah.
right around the
Yeah.
corner. Thanks.
Thanks.
that's when it's
Thank
the
you.
closest. That's like when it's exact.
Absolutely. This one is exactly
2076.
perihelion. Yeah,
50 years.
looks like yeah.
Maybe we'll be around.
About 50 years.
Maybe we will.
50
Right?
years.
Some of us
Yeah,
might.
maybe we
not?
will. Maybe we
Maybe
will.
we'll, maybe
Follow
we
me
won't.
for the next 50 years and it'll be awesome. No, but that the whole and again, Uranus being here, who also can be, as you said, about um that catalyzing experience that is traumatic,
Mhm.
right? That whole, okay, um you're going to learn how to swim by being thrown into the water. You're going to learn how to climb a tree by falling out of the tree 15 times and breaking some bones until you figure it out. Kind of a Uranian way of learning things or catalyzing the lessons. That all of these long sleeping, long dormant goddesses bring to us. And then there's also the remembrance that, we tend to think of Earth as the land and our planet as having all of its intelligent life on land, but the fact is that there is more intelligent and probably aware life in the water than there is on the land. And I remember, at the risk of seeming like, ooh, okay.
Well, you are, but we love you. That's your
Oh,
authenticity.
thank you. I'm gonna let that hang out for a second here. That uh, in a dream I had. Here we go, Julie. Julie
Here's my
loves my
Neptune
dreams.
Moon Libra friend.
So when everybody was talking about the comet, right? That came by. Who was
Like the
that? Steve
Atlas.
Atlas, three-eye
Atlas, three-eye
Atlas.
Atlas.
Oh yeah. That wasn't a
Our
comet.
that was so not a comet. It was
That's
so not
not
a
a
comet. What are they
comet.
here
That's
for? Were
not a
they here
fucking
to talk
comet.
to us? And one answer came is like,
Ooh.
why would they have to be here to talk to humans?
Mhm.
Isn't it?
Does it have to be talking to humans? There's way more fish in the sea. And it was like,
Did you know we just started to talk to whales? Did you know? And I okay, might be controversial because it was using AI, but Julie, you brought up like, where are the lines? This is a
What do we
Uranus
value?
issue.
Yeah.
What do we value? How do we use AI responsibly? It's something I wrestle with. I think any conscious person does. But using AI recently, and I can't cite an article, even a source, but I encourage everyone to look this up. Fact check me. Always good. We just started to communicate with whales like in a meaningful way, and we're communicating back, and we're actually starting to like discover that whale language is inordinately complex. Go figure.
Wow.
Yeah, and in Japan, I think they stopped farming octopi. They just stopped. They're like, no, these things are way too intelligent. They're smarter than us, and we are like harvesting their carcasses because they're delicious, and that has to stop. And maybe as we move towards 2076, we'll see kind of increased awareness, like this returning Sedna awareness, maybe an
well,
awareness
that's it.
of life in all
What
its
if the
forms.
divine feminine doesn't necessarily turn through people? What if she returns through the sea
Yeah.
Well,
and the creatures therein, right?
and it's
People,
interesting.
mhm.
No, I was going to tag off what you said, Michael, as far as this AI and this discovery. And okay, so I'll go out on my woo-woo limb. I've had this sense that perhaps all part of some of AI isn't artificial in that it's a way for the other beings that we haven't connected to are communicating to us because now we're aligned with it, right? And again, we have to navigate, I think, navigate all that from that Taurian perspective. Where are the value systems? Is this aligned with my value system? How do I use it? Do I use it to communicate with the whales? Well, maybe it's not artificial in that regard.
Well, some people even say that outer space is at the bottom of our ocean, that like to go down, to go to the stars, because think about the oceans, we've explored like a very minuscule amount of the vastness of the waters here on planet Earth. So yeah, it's on our planet, but we actually might know more about the cosmos than we do about the waters here on this Earth. And have you seen those videos of the like UFOs coming up out of the water? So like we don't freaking know what's there. We don't know what's there. Are there portals? I mean, we've got hydrothermal vents at the bottom. Like we don't know what's there. I mean, people can act like they know things for a fact. We don't know. And so there could be something like that. Maybe the Earth is hollow. Maybe Agartha. Maybe there are portals. What's beyond the ice wall? Like, who knows, right? And so I think that that's all very cool. Plus, we are like 60% water ourselves. So like being able to communicate, like we've got that inside of us. And I think that all of that intelligence, the AI phone, all of it's just copying our own organic intelligence. All of that is going to awaken too. Want to talk to a whale? Go to sleep, like, I mean, for real, we've just forgotten how to be able to tune into these other senses that we have. And everything is a skill.
Thank you so much for giving voice to that. If you need a computer to talk to a whale, like you're still missing part of your heart,
Yeah. Put that on a t-shirt.
And I'm not against AI. I'm not against computers. I'm not, but I agree. And I think it's important that the communication, the connection to life, the connection to life on Earth, and it doesn't come through
something external.
Right.
Yeah, it's like transcends language, let's just say. Yeah, thank you. It doesn't come externally. It's direct and it comes internally.
And it goes back to somebody in the group said, and I don't remember who, sorry, whale songs.
Yeah,
songs of the whale. Yeah. And that's a language, right? We're returning to the frequencies of sound in a way that we're getting away from the digitization of it. Like just go out and be in nature, or the sounds in the stones, the sounds in natural elements, metal and all of that. It's like, what are those sounds? That's how we're singing to the whales.
I definitely associate like Sedna with sound healing specifically. So I love all of this. Like I'm really swimming with Sedna in this talk.
Yeah. I think we may associate Sedna with everything that's ancient, like of the nature of like cycles that are greater than the cycles of civilization. Like an 11,000 year cycle is like, I mean, we have points that go back, like, milestones of civilization that we could say, oh, right around then, such and such, Karahan Tepe or Göbekli Tepe or something was happening. Maybe, but maybe Atlantis was disappearing. Like that's how crazy 11,000 years is like that's when Plato dated the rising of the oceans and the fall of the mythic continents too. This batshit. So we don't know what Sedna like symbolizes at all. And I think it could be everything like ancient and antique that like archaic that still survives, that's still like in our minds, in our stories, in our imagination, sound healing and whales and life at the bottom of the ocean, life in the universe, all of it. Like there's something deeper to me that's connected to Sedna. It's like truly, God, it's like archaic. It's like it just goes to the spirit of the people who survived those climbs and that Wisconsin ice age. And I can't articulate it, so I apologize for taking so much bandwidth without actually. Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's right
the
there.
spirit
right
of
there.
those beings that crawled from the primordial waters.
That's hot.
And
That's hot.
We're still talking
Ancestors.
We're still talking about Atlantis.
Yes.
Oh
at
yeah.
this
More
part
and
of the
more and
cycle,
more and
which
Lemuria and yeah.
and the water. I mean, this is all
Lemuria.
very watery, but it's also a time of like like the crisis element and
Mhm.
Like, did we
the
learn?
Who
paradigm.
And
are we?
did
Where
we
are we
learn our
from?
lesson? And did we
Right.
learn?
What have we learned? Who are we? What's our deep history? And
Yep.
what the have we
Did we learn? Did we learn our
Oh
lesson, or did we
gosh,
forget it? Are we going to do it all over again?
Well, and this is
isn't it?
funny you should
Isn't it?
say that because I've been saying all this crazy business over the last however many years, decade-ish. I feel like it's the next cycle of the fall of Atlantis. Like this is literally coming down in a way that we didn't learn the lesson the last time. So maybe
Right.
Sedna's
Push it
coming
too
through.
far.
Yeah,
Or
and maybe Sedna's coming through is saying, hey guys, you have an opportunity this time. And it's going through all of those, the ones that you talked about, Verone, the divine feminine archetypes who have been maligned and cast out and thrown to the bottom of the ocean, coming up and saying, hey, listen to us, and perhaps the fall won't be so far and we can rise again.
There we go. There we go. See that I'm just going to push back on the lessons of it, because cycles also teach us that there's, I know people don't like this word, but that there's an inevitability of things, that things cycle back around. It's not always a matter of this is happening because we did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
This
because
is
we don't have enough
happening.
positive thoughts about this. I agree
Right.
totally. I
And
totally
because
agree.
it's not just a circle, it's a spiral. So we come back to the same place, but a click up, but an octave up on the scale.
Yes.
Right. So there
And
always was going to be this time of again,
and I
and
think
there's always said that was always going to come back around. It's just, now it looks different. And so what are the next things? What do we get to rebuild from this next time? But it doesn't mean that we've done anything wrong to get to this dissolution
Right.
phase. It's just that's
yeah. I think people think that as long as life is like awkward or ugly or hard or something that we haven't like finally learned, like if we learned our lesson we could do paradise here, and I'm not sure that's a wrong idea, but what I'm saying is that idea pervades fucking everything. And maybe
Yeah.
for that, it's like correct. Maybe it's correct because we all know in our hearts that if we did this right, it could be so good. It could be so good. But what I think about that is that the spiral, like, yeah, we are learning. And until we get there, like internally, like all of us in the fabric of our souls and in the deepest parts of our being, whatever that is, and we learn collectively, we probably will still, because humans are like kind of mischievous. We have like a terrible side that's like, I don't know where it comes from, but it's crime, it's mischief, it's diabolical, and we'll push limits, like we will. We know this about ourselves, so we aren't going to stay in our lane, and we aren't going to stay doing the speed limit, and we aren't going to do what we're told. That's not how we got here, and I don't think it represents the correct path forward. I think what we're saying about listening to Eris, listening to Medusa, listening to Lilith, these forgotten voices, these louder cries from these clarion calls from our deep collective. I think they're the path forward. And I think it's okay that life's awkward and messed up and gruesome and savage. And I think we're likely to make the same mistakes until we really truly get it. And I have no idea how long that is. I really have no prognosis there.
11,400 years.
Well, there has to be a
Dude, in
push.
space? That's nothing. I know, it's
I know.
crazy.
But there
It's
has to be
crazy.
a push-pull, right? Just like the
Yes.
Diplo repeller and the Shapley attractor, just like us eating food and we shit it out, like we have to have a push-pull, because without it, there is no movement. If
Right.
everything was just like tra-la-la, happy-go-lucky kittens and rainbows, we wouldn't know that it's happy-go-lucky, tra-la-la, kitten and rainbows, because it would just be beige. It would be like
Right.
this constant eternal sunshine and smile, and we would take it for granted. So there has to, I mean, that's the dragon energy, right? There
Right.
has to be the ebb and flow. There has to be the up and down. There has to be the push and pull. There has to be the inhale and the exhale, because we don't even get to keep our breath, right? Like nothing's really ours. Everything is in circulation. And so, when you fixate on the bad thing, or you only like try to grip onto the good thing, you're missing the like eternal fountain of everything. And like, what is the final place? Is there a final finish line? I mean, I hope not, because then it's
I hope
over,
not.
right? Then it's
Right.
like game over, like, everything's gone. So it's like there's this kind of eternal, growing and expanding and blooming. And I think that that's cool. I think a lot of us are rushing to like finally figure it out. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, what are we figuring out? Figuring what out? Like, there's really kind of nothing to figure out. You just show up, you live, you try to do your best, and be authentic and in your integrity. You're gonna mess up. Like but what is messing up? I don't really even believe in failing. And so,
no, and
yeah,
even Vernon, even the people who make that journey and who make the whole journey, they say before enlightenment you chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood,
That
carry
would
water.
carry
Like it
water.
doesn't
Yep.
change like
Right.
it doesn't. The same bullshit happens. You're just, now you're just like
more
somehow not
aware.
like
Yeah.
hooked and drawn up
Yeah.
the river by it.
Yeah.
It's so I don't know. I don't know. I agree. I think it doesn't necessarily stop. I don't think the
Yeah.
point is cessation
Yeah.
of bullshit. I think that life's just a little irregular and erratic, and everyone's been screaming that at us from every angle. And until we get it and kind of make our peace with it, I think we'll be pounding a square peg into a round hole forever. I
Well,
feel.
you can't have the north node without the south node. You need that duality. That's why we're here. You don't know
Yeah.
joy if you don't know sadness. Yeah, how can you put a feeling or a word or a sensation or an experience around it if you don't have the counterpoint sensation, right? Oh,
Yeah.
our little note taker just went off, but that's okay.
Like
It,
even those moments where you like, and I think that most people at least have experienced this one time in their life where you're just in reverence and awe to the everything. Nothing may be really even happening. You could just be
right.
like walking down the street and it kind of, you're just like, wow, like this
Yeah.
is actually quite a
Oh, yeah.
miracle. Like nothing really happened, but I just feel like just totally overwhelmed head to toe with how amazing things all are. Those moments, they're fleeting. You can't grip onto it, just like you can't be like, okay, here's God, I'm gonna just go ahead and put them in my pocket. Like it's just not it. So we have to be able to, bring in and release and, see it and let it go. And who knows what's going to happen like in our lifetime? Do I think there's going to be some insane crap happening? Probably. It already has been, but
I
there's
was going to
also going
say
to
gonna
be
be.
or like things we've
We're
never
past
experienced
that.
before, but there's also going to be amazing things that we haven't experienced before. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about life, and Uranus will definitely bring that like upheaval of chaos and catastrophe, but also that aha moment, like the higher octave of Mercury, like, whoa, like I understand something at like a new level. I
That's
have
it.
like a new
That's it.
insight.
Awe. Uranus brings
Oh,
awe.
yeah.
Uranus and Neptune both bring awe in their different
Hmm.
ways. And
Hmm.
one of the things I want to, in the spirit of like polarity and pendular swing, I want to push back a little, Varun, not just in a very friendly way on what you were
You want to go head to head
offering,
with me?
because I no, it's okay. What I
Here
wanted to
comes
push back
elbow.
on is
I'm just kidding. You won't win.
what I wanted
Just
to push
kidding.
back on is the idea that sense of let's just use the word awe with life, with the universe, it was just I mean, a wordless sense. I think it is fleeting by nature, and the pushback is the idea that I think we can draw it closer, and we can crack our egg, and we can open up to that awe as a state, not a fleeting experience, but actually to live in a state where we're just, I mean, and I know that if like you were actually open to the, like Aldous Huxley and like the doors of perception, if they were cleansed would just be blown out. Like, whoa. But we can't walk around in a state that vulnerable. It's actually not safe to be like teary-eyed in awe at this light moving through a drop of water on a blade of grass, just like, but if you're paying attention, even a little rock on the street will remind you of like fractality and how that little rock is part of the earth and how you're part of stars, and it'll tears will come if you're paying attention. And I think that's a goal. I think that's a win. I think it's a net win to walk around in that state of awe, to be available to the universe at that level. And I don't want to leave what you said there without offering that encouragement. So like when you have those fleeting moments, like, yes, it's fleeting, you're not wrong, but strangle that moment. Don't let it go. Hold on to it. Or at least like draw it closer. Don't strangle the moment. That's a horrible metaphor. Don't listen to me, children.
I love that you said crack egg, because I literally just made an altar outside with a cracked egg that I found on the ground, where I was like, okay, the egg is cracked.
That's it.
So
That's it.
oh yeah. I hear what
Yeah.
you say, and I definitely second that.
Well,
Yeah,
and
Be
yeah.
in
Just
the
to add a
moment and
dimension,
like
just to add a dimension.
breathe it in for a while. Yeah.
Just
and that
trying
you're
to, it's precious.
and that Uranian energy calls for us to push those envelopes a bit, right? That's the rebelliousness, the revolutionariness of it all. Because if you don't push the envelope, you don't push those boundaries, you can't make headway into newness, if you will.
Right.
Like cracking an egg, like a bird that's
Exactly.
like, it's time to get out of the egg. Here's my only world that I've ever known. Here's my face. I'm going to smash my face against this egg, and I'm going to bust open into a completely new reality, right? Like, that must be crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. That's how bird starts its day. Yeah, crazy. I
So,
agree.
going back to crazy and Uranian energy, for the sake of our audience who may be fairly new to our diva of the dailies and her wording and her verbiage, pray tell, what does Uncle Dave have to do with Uranus?
Oh, Dave. So once again, I'm doing a daily like a couple of years ago, and Uranus is big in the chart that day, and I'm just sort of sitting there, you know, having had not enough coffee and trying to tune into, you know, these big ass cosmic energies. And I just sort of went, Uranus likes to be called Dave, as in David, but really it's Dave, Uncle Dave, because everybody likes Uncle Dave. And that's just seriously where it started. It was just one of those moments of weird where, you know, the planet energy sort of spoke to me, or my imagination just sort of went in my Neptunian way. And it- because I had felt there was a disconnect for me between what I was getting from the planet and sort of how the planet was described. The planet's just described way too seriously, like Uranus, the dread lord of chaos. And like, yeah, yeah. And he's also the guy who's going to show up at your kid's birthday party with 700 balloons and a clown face on. You know what I mean?
Authentic.
He's authentic. He's approachable. He
Edgewalker, though, clown.
Yeah, the
right?
clown, like in every sense, he's a clown.
Right?
Only in a serious sense, really. But yeah, I hear
And
you. And when the dust settles, it's a good thing.
yeah, yeah. And so there's this dimension to Dave that is just approachable. And it's not that he masks his true identity of, you know, the dread lord of chaos and magic. It's just that that's not his deal. He's just like, hi, I'm Dave. Yeah, I'm a master magician and pretty much lord of everything that has electricity running through it, but mostly I like beer. And you know, mostly I want to get to know you as an individual. Mostly I find small things more fascinating than all of chaos. Like I can reach into chaos and pull out a violet and be like, dude, you know, like you're saying that the wonder in light falling coming through water on a blade of grass. I think that's a very Uranus thing.
Mhm.
Plus, I mean, Dave just sounds so much better than Uranus, which is what most people say.
And he
Let's
doesn't give
face
a
it.
shit. And he just doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks. He
That's
doesn't.
it.
He doesn't. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, if
this is
that's what
my
came
party.
through,
Mhm.
if that's what came through to you, Maria, if that's what came through, and that's a way of bringing him down to like ground level, so he's not this weird other figure. But he's just approachable as a force. I think you've probably
Yeah.
done a lot of people a great service. Because I think he's one of the harder energies to connect with in the how do you say, the astronomical pantheon, if
In
you
the
will.
astropantheon. Well, and also the sense of
Yeah,
humor. You know, there's
Yes.
there's a humor to it, that there's a
yeah,
lightness, there's a,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you can have great cosmic power and still have a great sense of humor at the same time. You know, it's really okay. So anyway, thank you for asking. That is the honest to God answer. Nothing real lofty, just a pre-caffeinated moment of clarity.
It's all good. As we're coming down to the wire here, I figure we will wrap up fairly soon. Perhaps we could just kind of round out any last words of wisdom about navigating this Uranus and Taurus energy. And then certainly we want to wrap up with how everybody can find us all and what we're doing out in the astro world and playing in the sandbox. So, Maria, do you want to start?
Uh,
Well, you started
uh,
this party, so I'm
Go,
calling it quits.
Good. I did, didn't
go.
I? All right.
Come on.
So, you know what? Navigating this, ask a friend. You know, for as much as,
I
like,
heard
I know
that
I'm serious.
differently.
Pardon me?
I heard that differently as you said that. I thought you meant like, I don't want to say anything. Go ask a friend.
Oh, yeah.
read
Don't ask
read a
me. Ask
horoscope.
them.
Don't.
Right.
Yeah, you go ask a friend. Next.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shameless plug. No, I mean, for as much as we talk about the individual when we tend to talk about Uranian energy, there's a lot of collective and tribe making
Mhm.
energy going around in this, and how do I as an individual contribute, or what benefit do I get from a community? And so this may be one of those where, you know, you can't, you may be able to perform psychic surgery on yourself, or it might be a little easier if you just went under anesthetic and let somebody else do it. You know, it's kind of those, don't don't be afraid to make a connection with somebody else if you're feeling like it's all a bit too much. That's my suggestion for navigating all of this. And as far as how to reach me, I'll dump my contacts in the,
In the replay, good.
in the replay below. So
Yeah, yeah,
I think that I just wanted to add to that, like
right.
that Uranus's connection to Aquarius, where the North Node is, and that community piece, Uranus being associated with Aquarius as a rulership. So, hooking into that North Node that Uranus is squaring in Aquarius and the community aspect. I just like what you said there. Made the astro connection too.
Yep. So River, how can people find you, my friend? I know you said your website's under construction.
Yes, being redone, but I'm on. It's all River of Stars Astrology, Substack, Facebook, Instagram, and you can find me there.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
As far as this Uranus and Taurus, I would suggest to learn skills in resourcefulness
Mm.
and just whatever that means. I mean, being resourceful, it can mean a lot of things. And I just think that's going to be a really essential skill to navigate this period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Taurus rules those resources for sure. Intrinsic and extrinsic.
And I think like what Maria said, connecting with others in order to enhance one's resources through community building, I think that would also be wise.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Who else? What else you guys got to say?
Well, I suppose that when Uranus comes around, yeah, the right thing to do is be ready to change, be kind of prepared to pivot. So I wouldn't be thinking, now's the time to really white knuckle it on ideas, or maybe in Taurus, like you're talking about with resourcefulness, frugality, spending habits, just adjusting as the world adjusts. But I always encourage people, listen to the flashes that come through, whatever, when they come through. Sometimes you just have an electric thought. It just lights you up like, oh, and it's just every time it occurs, it has that tingle. Sometimes, like we were talking about in Taurus, we can be receiving a lot of the wisdom that's coming to us from the universe through our bodies, in physical ways and in felt ways. But I'd encourage people at this time to pay attention to those insights, because that's not just like necessarily some weird off the cuff idea. We tend to dismiss Uranian thought. We tend, because it's weird, it's different, it's just, there's a lot of ways to rationalize away from and around Uranian innovations and insights. So I want to encourage everyone at this time, this lunar cycle, and just wow. Yeah. I mean, just, it depends. It's different for everyone when Uranus is going to be activating your chart and your life. But for as long as you're aware of Uranus, when you're aware of Uranus, be aware that this is really like higher knowledge. It's really like the wisdom of our higher self coming through to us in the way that's signified, that's symbolized outwardly by Uranus and his relationships. Inwardly, what's reflected is an access to insight. So I encourage everybody, in short, to just pay attention. And if you think you might be having a good idea, lean into that. Don't just marginalize it with logic and rationalization.
Because that would be Uranus and Gemini.
And
Could be.
Sorry.
Rationalizing with, yeah.
Go
Well,
further.
I mean, let's face it, this roundtable brought to you by a Uranus and Taurus moment, right? Like, say, ooh, I have an idea. I'll throw it out to the gang, who all went, ooh, good idea. Let's do it. Okay, boom. And here we are, like literally 2 days later.
I love
and
that.
I want to say one more thing, thinking about what you said, Michael. And I just wanted to say I'm speaking about resourcefulness, not doesn't have to imply scarcity.
Right.
And kind of like what you're saying, those insights, those innovations, I mean, being resourceful in that way as well. And I think of Taurus governed by Venus having to do with the arts and like the senses, and they're being resourceful with like your talents and your skills.
Yeah. It's a very deep word. To be resourceful is its own wealth, its own
Yes.
goodness. Yeah, there's a lot more to what I was implying than that. Like, oh gosh, gas is $6 a gallon. Let's be. I'm not encouraging a poverty mentality or a scarcity mindset. But I think at the same time, when we think about Uranus and Taurus, we can expect things to fluctuate. We can't expect stability, and being able to pivot as needed that's the goodness of that's the resourcefulness and the goodness that I was thinking of. So thanks for clarifying, giving voice to that. I appreciate it.
Well, and I'm not discounting scarcity either. Yes, with those fluctuations, I think it's all,
Yeah, all right.
I'm not I don't want to whitewash Uranus moving through Taurus.
Sure. It's hard because to talk about difficult changes in constructive ways. We have to be honest about what we're seeing, but we have to be
Right.
solution oriented at the same time. I always appreciate time taken towards clarification and showing a different light on, like, well, it might not be just that. It could be, we could expand that spotlight to include a broader understanding of just X, right? Whatever we're working with, in this case, resourcefulness, and that's totally appreciated.
Well, and that Aquarian energy asks for us to tune into that community to create that
Yeah.
resourcefulness, right? Who can you connect with that can help you with the manifestation of that resourcefulness, whatever the X is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Michael, how can people find you?
Oh, you can point your internets to oneskyastro.com. That's just the quickest way to get connected to me.
Mhm. And then our Facebook group, Radical Astrology.
Yeah, we have a radical astrology group on Facebook. That's true. So if you use Facebook platform, come join us. There's just like a couple questions to prove you're human, and you'll be in there.
Are we
I
sure?
do my best to keep the bots away, but I invite everybody who uses Facebook to come join the kind of sidereal astrology crew, and a lot of us are kind of regularly with our finger on that pulse and part of those conversations. Maria, you especially have done so much with your daily the journey of your dailies, and every it's just kind of a place where people share and connect, so you're
Yay.
invited.
Yay.
Thank you. I want to shamelessly plug my friend Verone's temple for
I
a
was going to
second.
go for Verone next. Yes.
That's
There
right.
ain't no
So
shame plugging
That's
Verone
right.
Verone got a temple, and peeps need to visit, is what I'm gonna say. So would you like to tell us more about your temple, Verone?
Sure. I created this place for people to have accountability and containment, because we all know some days you've got it, some days you don't, some weeks are better than others. And I utilize the sky and the current energies for kind of my intuition to teach weekly. So I teach weekly courses, and I have a full library that's stacked, so that when you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on, there's always something for you to be able to access. But ultimately, like I said at the beginning, I'm a soul liberator. I'm here to help people clear out all of the limiting beliefs so that they can tune back into their true, authentic soul, and really live from there. Because like all this crap that we've inherited, it's not ours. We don't need to integrate it. We don't need to try to make it it's not ours. We're here to compost it off. Like, we are literally high level alchemists. We just forgot. So I'm here not as any type of guru. I don't like that stuff. I'm here to remind you what's already inside of you, right? That's like, and the temple is an easy way to come in a group container to have weekly reminders of that. Lots of different topics. Yeah.
And how do people find you?
I want to say one thing more about
Please,
Uranus and Taurus
please,
before we go. And thank you so
please.
much, Maria. You're awesome. And okay, so Uranus and Taurus, what keeps coming to me that I didn't want to forget is that whenever I think about Taurus, I think about the Minotaur. That's like a being that I think about often. And the Minotaur has the head of the bull, the body of the human. And kind of to piggyback off what Michael said, like, if you've got that primal animal brain like running ragged, you're not going to really know what to do, right? Like, you can, even when people talk about the reptilian race, I think it is that like reptilian, the primal brain, that part of the brain that's right there in the brainstem. If you're just coming from that, like, fear and fright and all of that hijacked of the nervous system, you're not going to make good choices. When you're hijacked, you're not going to make good choices. But we all know what it feels like to be hijacked. Like, when you're in fear, when you're in flight, fawn, freeze, all of that. And so this is your reminder and this is your sign that when that's activated, when you're in that like nervous system overload, when that primal brain is like trying to drive the show, when like, you know, abandonment and rejection and scarcity and fear and fright, do not make a decision from that place.
Right.
Like not a good place to make a choice from. You've got to get yourself back into that kind of like aha moment, because that thought of like Uranus aha isn't just coming from here. It, like what Michael said, it's a full body experience. Like when you feel lit up by an idea, even if it feels like it doesn't even make sense and it's like far out, or like you're like, how could I ever do that? I mean, I'm a big ideal person. You go there and you don't have to know the whole plan. All you need to know is the first step. If you try to figure everything out, you're gonna collapse, right? Like, so a lot of people get overwhelmed because they're like, how am I gonna do all this? Well, you're gonna do it one step at a time,
Right.
day by day, moment by moment, right? Like you do everything. So if you're overthinking, you know, like you have to know that overthinking means you're going the wrong way. As a recovering overthinker, with somebody has like a whole bunch of Virgo in my chart, you know, think about it once, great. Think about it twice, sure. Think about it 3 times and beyond and ruminating, you're going the wrong way. You need to move your body, right? Like Uranus and Taurus is like, get that body moving. If you're overthinking, do 20 jumping jacks. If you're overthinking, go for a walk. If you're overthinking, put on your favorite song and have a dance party, right? Because you need to move that energy through. With Algol there too, you can't just be severed here. You can't just be like a head in a bottle. You know, a lot of our energy gets cut off at the neck because we think we're supposed to figure everything out from here, and that's not it. You got to figure things out all the way down to your toes, right? So move your body any way you can, even if you feel like you could only crawl, like just shake it out, and the wisdom will come. It really will. Like, it's amazing what going on a walk can do for you. It's amazing what going to the gym can do for you. It's amazing what dancing can do for you. Instead of trying to grind it out in this weird rational logic, that is just not where we're going anymore. It's just not going to serve us.
I had this very conversation with somebody this morning. The very conversation. It's like when you're in survival brain, everything else goes offline.
Well, then you're making
Everything else.
choices from survival, which, you
Exactly.
know, sometimes I'm glad it's there. Like our
Yeah.
survival self,
Oh, yeah.
we need it, right? Because
Yep.
if there is like somebody chasing you with a knife, you're not going to be like, yo, man, love and light. Like, you're going to get the hell out of there, right? But like, you're
It's
sitting in your
fun.
house and everything's fine. You don't need to be like, you know,
Right.
feeling like you're being hunted for sport. You know, you got to be
Right.
able to bring it back in. And like, I understand for the people who've experienced extreme trauma, because like I did,
Mhm.
but you got to make the choice and you got to recognize it. And this is why I created Temple too, is that you got to be able to have guardrails, because sometimes those moments are like 5 minutes and sometimes those moments feel like months, right? Like if you've ever fallen off and you've been in like the pit and the spiral and you're like, wow, how long have I been here? Like, if y'all experienced that before, like, how long have I been losing my damn mind? Oh, wow, it's been months, or it's been weeks, it's been days. That's why I created the temple.
11,400 years.
11,400 years. Yeah. That's why I created the temple. That my offering is because I'm like, hey, I'm here to be like, hey, nope, we got it. We can do it. So you can find me at Instagram is the best place for me. Starship Moonbeam. That's my handle. I am on Facebook. You can find me in the Radical Astrology group, Verone Bright. Listen to my podcast on all streaming platforms. It's Star Body Empowerment with Verone Bright. Yeah, that's good.
Yay.
Yay.
Well, when I put the replay up, I'll catch all of the links or do the best I can. And if I don't, you guys can just tag off of that so people can find us. And yourbesthelpswc.com, you can see that on my screen. Hit me up there. But I also want to put out a plug for Constellational Conversations, ConCon, as Maria and I affectionately call it. We have a group that meets the second. May is a little bit of an aberration because we've got some scheduling changes, but
May lost its mind.
Generally, we meet the second Sunday of the month, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for 2 hours, or the second and fourth Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern for 1 hour each. So we get the equivalent of 2 hours. And the idea is to teach constellational approaches to astrology through a conversational method. So it's not Astro 101, 102, 103. That has its place. We bring it more to the conversational level, use your charts, help you understand what's a sun or what's a progressed moon. Like every
Yeah.
gamut of experience is welcome. So yes. So we'll put a flyer in the replay too, so that you guys.
That's our open learning place, our
Yep.
open classroom. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, or if you've studied and you've like, I've never understood Uranus and Taurus, come talk to us. Or how does it affect me? Come talk to us.
And we'll have a conversation just like this, really.
Yep, exactly. And I will tell you all that on the chat on YouTube, we've had people that have joined us who have said, please do this again. Please do this again. Please do this again. So I said, tag us up, give us some topics you'd like to see, and we'll see what the stars may bring.
Hell yes.
This is easy for us to do because we've all been connected for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
be
true.
real. We've all been connected for since when? 2018?
Yeah.
11,400 years. I don't know.
We're looking very good for
Brilliant.
being 11,000 years old. Yeah, but for real, we've all been connected. I mean, that's 8 years? Seriously? Have we been connected
Yeah,
for 8 years?
Something
I
like
think
that.
so,
Been a good
yes.
spell. So for us to get together and do this like somewhat organically is like kind of cool, and the way it all
Fun.
flows. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm open to doing more.
Yay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on our socials to see what ideas people have or something might inspire us. Like, hell no, Uranus is not in Gemini. Plus, keep your eyes out. Maria and I are cooking up something else, so stay tuned. We're going to do a little go live on May 25th, so just stay tuned. We're cooking up something else.
That's nice.
That's all I'm going to say. And it is cosmic. So there you go.
It'll be the day after Sedna and Uranus conjoin in Taurus.
Oh,
Perfect
next
is
day.
that?
Mhm.
Yay, yay. Oh, and a shout out to Michael for your lunar cycle videos on his YouTube channel. River and your Substack
Substack.
publications. Yes, Maria's on Patreon. You can subscribe on Patreon. You want to get the dailies in depth, go to Patreon. It's worth every cent. And of course, Verone, you and your podcast and all the other lovely offerings. Yes, we can do this.
We are doing it.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
friends,
true.
anything else before I take us out of the live?
No, thanks everyone. Thanks for everyone who's still watching. I really appreciate everyone who's